Okay, thank you very much. So all of today we've been listening about AdWords and online marketing and how it's great for your business. And here's your site. So today I'm going to be working with one example site, which is the Google Store site. So it's www.googlestore.com. If you'd like a Google t-shirt or YouTube socks, this is the place you would go and buy it. So you run a lot of ads. So hopefully today you've learned ads work. So you go back, you start some ad campaigns, you place some ads on Google, and it starts driving traffic to your website. So the question's going to be, and it's probably going to come from your boss and your colleagues and your agency and so on, is it working, right? So we've shown you today that why you should be doing it. Then the next question becomes, we're doing it, is it working now, right? So there are a lot of questions there. Are our campaigns performing? Are the people we bring to the website, are they doing what we want them to do? Are they buying? Are they signing up to our newsletter? And so on. Can we improve the site and get more sales happening? And probably most importantly, which is your marketing manager is going to ask this of you every day, what is every baht doing from our marketing budget? And the good thing about Google Analytics, unlike tracking any other media, it will tell you things about each and every visitor that comes to your website, not just a sample, but each and every one of them, which is hard to do with other online advertising media out there. So Google Analytics, it's an online tool, so you access it through the web. It's got a great price tag, it's free, very quick to install, and then once you've installed it, it's very easy to use. The idea behind this tool, it's free and it's there to help you as the online business owner to improve your website, to make your website better. And by making your website better, we hope that you get more sales from your website. And at the end of the day, increase your return on investment for your marketing team. So if this is your website here, Google Analytics tracks a lot of information around it. The first is, how are people getting to your website? So where in the world are they located? How did they find your website? When did they come to your website? Then once they're on your website, how are they actually behaving and engaging with your content? What do they like? What do they not like? And then finally, what's causing them to leave the site, which is really important as well if you want to improve your website. So we take all this information, and there's a lot of data there. And what we do is we try and categorize it into 5 key categories. And these 5 key categories basically tell the story of your website to your marketing team, right? So the first category is your visitors. So this tells you about who's coming to your website. Where are they located? What do they like? What types of browsers do they have? And so on. Then the next part tells you how they got to your website. So these are the traffic sources. Did they come through online marketing? Did they come through a search on Google or Yahoo or Bing? Did they come through a referral? Did they come through an email newsletter? And so on. Then the next section is all about your content. So this tells you what your visitors enjoyed about your site. What did they do on your site? What did they like? What did they not like? And then finally, we have goals and e-commerce tracking, which help you understand why these visitors came to your website. And did they help meet the objectives of your website as well? So today, I just want to talk about how analytics really isn't about reading data. It's about looking at all this rich information the tool gives you and taking action to help improve your online business and your online marketing. So I want to focus on 4 key areas today. There's like hundreds of things we can do with analytics, but I want to just focus on 4. So the first is how we use Google Analytics to measure, is your site effective? Is it working? Then we look at how we can use analytics to track your online marketing. And then we look at how we can use analytics to identify new opportunities for business, new audiences or new marketing campaigns. And finally, we look at how analytics can help you identify areas of your website that's quite weak. And then we go and try and fix those weak points. So what is it about? How do we measure your site's effectiveness? So every site out there has an objective, right? Whether you want to sell online or you want to inform consumers about your new products and your new services, or it could be a marketing campaign microsite where you just want to excite everyone about your products. So all these objectives can be recorded in Google as Google Analytics goals. So it could be anything from making a sale to getting somebody to sign up the newsletter. It could be getting somebody to look for where your store is next to them, and so on. And once you've defined this in Google Analytics, it can tell you when these goals are being met. So each and every time somebody meets this objective, it can tell you it happened. And even more useful, it can take you back then and show you what sort of visitor led to that objective being made. Did they come from online marketing, or did they come from organic search, or did they come from a partner? What we can also do with Google Analytics is track e-commerce activity as well on your website. So if you're selling on your website now, or you're planning to sell on your website, the good thing is analytics can also help you track those transactions. And it's not there to kind of override your accounting systems. It's there to help you get more insight into the types of visitors who buy products on your website. So we can start breaking down things like such as which products are performing well, and who are the types of visitors who buy these products. And probably more importantly, we can tell who is bringing us these visitors who are buying these products, right? So if you're advertising online, hopefully you see a lot of your online ads are actually driving people to buy online. Or you might see it might be visits from a partner side who are buying. So in that case, you might want to then strike a deal with your partners to drive even more traffic to your website. E-commerce tracking can also give you some interesting insights, alluding to sort of what Irene was talking about before, like looking at how many visits before a user will actually buy on your website, or how many days between the time they first come to your website and they actually make a purchase. So these are all insights you might not be able to get through sort of traditional e-commerce measurement methods. And once you've defined goals and e-commerce tracking in your Google Analytics tool, no matter which reports you're looking at in Google Analytics, we can then always tie it back to, did it help meet the objectives of my website, or did it help me bring revenue to the business? And so using this information, we can identify segments of audience that are not working for us and audiences that are really working for us. So we want to make sure that we hold on tight to them and keep getting more money from them, more business from them. So that takes us on to how do we use Google Analytics then to measure our online performance. And so with Google AdWords, it's very easy. Because analytics and AdWords are both from Google, they match up together well in the back end, and we can report to you about your Google AdWords performance in Google Analytics. What's really useful here, though, is Google AdWords can tell you a lot of this information, but Google Analytics can then tell you more. They can tell you what happened with these visitors after they came to your website. So AdWords will tell you that, oh, we brought someone to your website, but then you don't know what happens after that. So this tool then tells you what they did. What did they do once they clicked, landed on your site? Did they make a purchase? Did they like what they see? Or did they hate it and go away and never come back? So that's AdWords tracking, but what a lot of people also don't realize is that Google Analytics can be used to track any online marketing campaign. So not only can you track ads from Google, but if you're running campaigns on Yahoo, on MSN or Bing, you can track all that. If you're running banners in different networks, you can track all that as well. If you're running or you're sending out email campaigns, we can track that too. And of course, you can also start tracking referrals, affiliates, or if you're running any sort of social media campaigns, viral campaigns on Hi-Fi, Facebook, Friendster, and so on, that can all be tracked. So at the end of the day, you can take all your online marketing activity and track it through one tool, which is Google Analytics, and find out what are those visitors doing? Are they actually helping us meet our objectives? And then of all these marketing channels, which are the most effective ones for your business? So once we start looking at our campaigns, our visitors, and we optimize our campaigns, Google Analytics can also help you identify new opportunities that maybe your AdWords campaigns or your other online marketing campaigns would not help you see on its own. One thing Google Analytics is really good at doing is to tell you where in the world your visitors are located. So here, for example, looking at all the traffic that comes to our Google store site from Thailand, we see a bulk of them are in Bangkok, but also spread out across Thailand. We could also then move out further and then look at how is our traffic distributed across Southeast Asia. We could also move out further and look at how is our traffic distributed all over the world. So the idea is that if we're not targeting, let's say, Malaysia or Indonesia, and we see there's a lot of traffic from these markets, just organically, they're coming there naturally without any advertising, we might say, well, why don't we try advertising to these sites and see what happens? Or maybe you never knew there was a market in these countries. You say, well, why don't we start, put an office there or get more people signing up from those countries? So if we look at the data, so this is a nice visual representation, then we can look at the hard numbers. And if we look at our goal information, our goal completion, what I can then do is start ranking all these countries by how many people actually performing a goal. So on our Google store site, one of our goals is that somebody completes an order, makes a purchase, right? So here we might have seen, oh great, lots of traffic from Southeast Asia, we should target this market. But if we go to the next screen, we see actually it's only the Philippines who are interested. So if we were going to spend a lot of advertising dollars on Southeast Asia, we might just want to focus on the Philippines first. Or we might say, well, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand are very important markets for us. Why aren't we getting sales? So you can take this information back to your marketing team or your strategy team and say, why aren't we getting sales here? We should be doing something in these countries. Another way to identify new opportunities for you is also to look at the search engines report. So this report tells you which search engines are being used to look for your website. So for Google Store, it's not surprising to see everyone goes to Google first if they're looking for a Google t-shirt, all right? So we'd expect that. We don't know what they're doing on Ask and Yahoo. Maybe they're a little confused. But this is what we can tell which search engines they're using. But what's even more useful is if I click into Google, I can then also get a breakdown of what are they actually typing into the Google search engine. So this now tells me not only that they're using Google, but also what they're interested in to come to my website. So it allows you to almost read into the minds of your visitors and understand what do they really want. And again, I can go to my goal tab and then order by goal completion rate to find out of all these keywords, which keywords actually drive sales for our business. And you would go back to your agency or your marketing team and say, are we advertising on these keywords? If we're not, we should be, because we know when they click on these keywords, they're actually making a purchase. Another report we can also look at is our traffic, our referrals report. So this report tells you which sites are also sending you traffic. So these might be blogs who love your product, so they talk about your product and they put a link on their blog post. It could be partner sites and so on. So it's a good way, again, to identify who's sending you a lot of traffic. Again, we order it by goal completion rate. And we can start to identify a few sites that when visitors come from that site to our website, we know they make a purchase for whatever reason. So if we look at one example, this blog here, Daily Blog Tips, every time they blog about a Google product and they link to like a Google t-shirt or Google socks or whatever, and they link to our website, we always get a lot of purchases from that. So if we know that this is a very valuable partner for us, we might want to go back and say, can we advertise more on your website? Because we know your readers actually want to buy from us. Maybe you can give them a special discount code or a coupon or something like that. So it's a very powerful tool to discover new partners who can help you grow your business as well. So now we've looked at all that, the next question then becomes, how do we improve our online performance? So we've looked at ways to track how effective your website is, look at ways to track your online campaigns, look at ways to build your audience, identify new opportunities. But what you can also find out through Google Analytics is where is your site not working right now? You know, where is it performing poorly? And also fix that, because if you can fix all that, hopefully you get more people making a purchase or signing up for a newsletter on your site, and then you'll get more return on investment. So one of the metrics I really like to look at when I look at how can I improve a website is the bounce rate. So a bounce is essentially a single page visit. So what it means is somebody sees your ad or a link and they come to your website and then they just leave. They just say goodbye, and worst case scenario, they may never come back again. Especially if this is a site they've never seen before. It takes on average about 8 seconds for a person to make up their mind whether they want to stay on this site or not. And so a bounce rate is a very good indicator that your content is not working, or even maybe your ad is not working. So here, that ad is talking about lava lamps, but I'm bringing them to a page about frisbees and Rubik's cubes and so on. So they were looking for a lava lamp, but they don't like what they see here and they leave. If this is their first time to this store, it could be the next time they see an ad for the Google store, they might not want to click on it because they're saying, they obviously don't know what they're talking about. I asked for lava lamps and they're giving me a frisbee, two totally different things. So how do we identify pages with a high bounce rate? So in analytics, there are a lot of reports in there that talk to you about bounce rate. So here's one report here which gives you a breakdown of all your landing pages. So these are the pages your users first see when they come to your website. And then we break it down by bounce rate. And so we can look at this data and see which are some of our pages that have a really bad bounce rate. Okay, so people are coming to the YouTube page, and whatever this page is here, I keep forgetting the URL isn't very friendly. They just don't like what they see and they're leaving, right? So this is some information, again, you can take to your webmasters, your content team, your marketing team, and say, I know you guys love these pages because it looks great, but it's actually not working, and we have the data to show that. So let's start to fix it up. Do we offer better deals? Do we change the layout? Do we try different color schemes and so on? It's also really great to look at bounce rates and your online advertising campaigns as well, because this can tell you when your advertising message isn't actually working. So this report here gives us a breakdown of all the keywords we are using to drive traffic to our Google Store website. And again, I can identify which particular keywords have got higher bounce rates. So this means if somebody's doing a search for Google Office and they click on it, they're coming to our site, whatever page they're being taken to, they don't like what they see and they leave. And it's most likely because we don't really sell Office-type products. So one recommendation might be, well, don't advertise on the keyword Google Office. But let's say we did sell Google Office products, this sort of information might signal that we're taking the visitor to the wrong page. So we can then use this information, take it back to our teams and say, it's a good keyword, but we need to point them to another page on our website. Another good thing with Google Analytics is this whole thing called funnel reporting. I really like it. So before I spoke about goals, so these are the objectives your website has. So you define those as Google Analytics goals. And with a goal, you can also present a funnel. So a funnel is all the steps you see a user taking to reach your goal. So for like an e-commerce site, it might be, they put things in their shopping cart, then they go to checkout, they put in their details, credit card details, and finally make the sale. So it's useful to know how many people convert, how many people achieve the goal. But I think it's really more powerful to know how many people started. Because the people who started and did not finish, so that's everyone here on the right-hand side, everyone who's leaving your funnel, that's essentially your lost opportunity, right? You spent a lot of hard effort to bring them there to the top to begin with. You spent marketing dollars, you spent SEO effort and so on. You brought them here, and then your funnel or your process is letting your business down. Lots of people are leaving. So how can we use this information to improve our business? So let's look at an example. Again, this is from our Google Store account. So we look at what happens between when they start to view their shopping cart, so they're ready to check out, and they actually check out. So you see this is actually paints a very bad picture for Google Store. 15,000 visitors start to check out, but only 260 end up making a purchase. That's very bad. 0.15% of our total audience ends up making a purchase. If we could even just get an additional 0.5% or 0.2% to convert, we would make a lot more money on the store. Okay? So how could we use this information? Well, let's take a look. For example, when they're on the shopping cart page, a lot of people are concerned about privacy. So they're leaving for the privacy page and then they're never coming back. So one thing you might do to make this whole procedure easier for them is to take all that privacy information and place it on the shopping cart page itself. So they see that information, they're not tempted to leave that page, and then when they leave the page, they might forget about things and go away. So this way you're forcing them to still stay on the page, they get all the information they need, and then they proceed to the next step. So what do we do about the next step? So maybe you might want to ask an extreme question. Do we even need the next step, right? Do we need people logging in? Do we really need to know what their birthday is? Can we ask them that later on? Many businesses out there, I'm sure you see many online case studies talk about how just removing the login step increases conversions anywhere from 15 to 30%, because people think, okay, I don't need to sign up again, remember yet another password, and do I really want to give them my birthday and my address and so on. So let's say we get rid of this step and we get more people moving from this step down to here. What can we do here then? They're ready to place an order, and we see even though they're ready to place the order, still a lot of them just leave the site completely. That's what it means by exit there. So what can we do for them? What we could do perhaps is give them some free offers, maybe offer them free shipping or give them a free gift. Enough to just get them to say, click on yes, I confirm this purchase, and get them down here. Right? So ideally, once you make all these fixes, instead of saying 264 there, hopefully you see 1,000 or 2,000 and 3,000. And over time, you have something the way, if you have 15,000 people starting, ideally you'd also love to have 15,000 people finishing as well. So that's basically my sort of 4 key areas for how you could use Google Analytics to help improve your business. There's actually a lot more to it. It's a really powerful tool. I recommend that if you haven't started with Google Analytics, definitely give it a try. So it's at google.com/analytics. Like I said, I've only touched on the surface, and if you want more information, I recommend trying out what's known as our Google Analytics Individual Qualification Training Program. It's all free. The training materials are free, so you go to conversionuniversity.com. Unfortunately, all the material's only in English right now, but hopefully over time we'll get it in more languages. And lots of sort of interactive videos. You can stop it anytime, pause it anytime, lots of notes. And it shows you how to use Google Analytics very much from the beginning right through to the end. We also have 2 good blogs if you want to learn more about using Google Analytics for your business as well. So one is the official Google Analytics blog, which is on the left here in orange. And we also have a blog basically focused on Southeast Asia. I'd recommend that you subscribe to both blogs, and between the 2 you'll learn a bit more about using Google Analytics and any new features that come up as well. Also in the Southeast Asia blog, we have a few articles on just getting started with Google Analytics. We have a lot of information on the web out there, so we've tried to bring it all together into one place. So that basically, in a nutshell, is Google Analytics, what it can do for your business, and why it's a great tool. I mean, it's free, and using that free tool, you can make small changes to your online marketing or to your website and get huge gains from them in the long run. Yeah.
ไม่รู้จะสรุปตรงไหนเพราะข้อมูลเยอะเหลือเกินนะคะเอาเป็นว่าตั้งแต่แรกเลยคือ Google Analytics เนี่ยค่ะเป็นเครื่องมือที่เอาไว้วัดตัวประสิทธิภาพของเว็บไซต์เราไม่จำเป็นต้องใช้ตัวโฆษณาของ Google แต่วัดทั้งหมดเลยค่ะแต่ถ้าใครใช้โฆษณาขณะเดียวกันก็จะวัดให้ด้วยนะคะวัดตัว conversion ให้ด้วยเหมือนกันก็จะเป็นตัว JavaScript ที่ใช้งานง่ายมากนะคะตัวดิฉันก็เคยใช้คือไม่ได้ใช้ไม่ต้องแบบIT โปรแกรมเมอร์มาเขียนอะไรเพิ่มเลยก็สามารถใช้ได้กับตัวเว็บไซต์เราสามารถ track ได้ทุกหน้าเลยนะคะจะเห็นว่า มันลึกมากเลยใช่ไหมคะดูได้ทุกอย่างตั้งแต่ทราฟฟิกดูมาจากไหนอย่างไรจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยในเมืองไทยค่ะดูได้ขนาดดูเป็นเมืองเลยนะคะคือเชียงใหม่ภูเก็ตลูกค้าเรามาจากไหนจากเว็บไซต์แล้วมาทำอะไรในเว็บไซต์เราเนี่ย track ได้นะคะซึ่งจะไปตรงกับเรื่องของถ้าหากว่าจะใช้ตัวโฆษณาของ Google เนี่ยค่ะมันสามารถให้เรา track by city ได้ด้วยเหมือนกันนะคะคือให้เลือกเป็นซิตี้เลยเลือกเป็นเชียงใหม่เลือกเป็นภูเก็ตเลือกเป็นกรุงเทพได้ด้วยเหมือนกันมันก็จะต่อเนื่องกันคือดูว่าพอเราทำแล้วเนี่ยค่ะลูกค้ามาที่เว็บไซต์เนี่ยมาจากไหนอย่างไรและมาทำอะไรบ้างสิ่งเหล่านั้นเนี่ยจะช่วยให้เพิ่มประสิทธิภาพและขณะเดียวกันถ้าเราจะเอาข้อมูลเหล่านั้นมาวิเคราะห์เพื่อไปต่อเนื่องกับการที่เราจะทำโฆษณาโปรโมทไปว่าลูกค้าเราอยู่ที่ไหนลูกค้าเรามาหน้าไหนของเว็บมาทำอะไรบ้างนานแค่ไหนพวกนี้ค่ะจะช่วยได้ดีมากนะคะก็สามารถที่จะนำไปใช้ได้ในส่วนของ Google Analytics ขอบคุณค่ะ